Legal structure for economic development. There are some issues associated with economic development in Indigenous communities that are distinct to these communities. These issues have legal, structural, and cultural implications. 1. Political climate. 2. Land claims. 3. Access to capital. 4. Local expertise. 5. Regional networks. 6. Complexity of on-reserve business development process. Political climate. In order for economic development to progress, politics must be kept out of economic development business decisions. There must be a clear division between the economic development entity, elected council, and hereditary chiefs. Land claims. Many Indigenous communities are involved in land claims as part of their treaty process. Until treaties are signed off with fully articulated agreements with regard to land development, land claims will continue to hamper economic development. More on this in the next part of the Week 6 lesson entitled Land Considerations. Access to capital. Tied to the land claim issues is the lack of access to capital. Because financial institutions often require collateral in the form of property, issues surrounding land claims complicate the process of applying for loans to finance economic development ventures, which are often seen as risky by financial institutions to begin with. Without collateral in the form of land or buildings, loans are often denied. Local expertise. Local expertise is often lacking for business startups. Accessible, relevant, and appropriate resources need to be in place to provide support to those wishing to start a business. In addition, Indigenous community leaders need to be encouraged and supported in reaching out to other communities and businesses to ask for help and collaborative opportunities. A number of BC government services are available, including Indigenous Business Advisory Centres, Aboriginal Business and Entrepreneurship Skills Training, BEST program, Indigenous Business and Investment Council database of Indigenous businesses in BC. A list of current resources available in British Columbia is listed on the BC Government Aboriginal Small Business Resources handout, available from the site listed here. Another route to gain expertise is through private advisory companies such as First Peoples Group. Programs such as the University of Victoria's National Consortium for Indigenous Economic Development provides a number of training and mentoring services for Indigenous communities, including the Visiting Indigenous Leaders Program, the Aboriginal Canadian Entrepreneurs Program, and community-based economic development workshops. Regional networks. The same concept applies regionally. It's helpful for communities undertaking economic development to be able to communicate closely with other Indigenous communities that are farther along in the process, as well as communicating with entities to facilitate partnerships. One organization that promotes opportunities for national networking is the Canadian Council for Aboriginal Business, which holds an Aboriginal Economic Development Conference each year to provide support, connection, and updates to Aboriginal communities involved in economic development. Watch this video from the Canadian Council for Aboriginal Business. The Federation of Canadian Municipalities works to promote collaboration between First Nations and neighbouring municipalities to create a shared vision for joint economic development through its Community Economic Development Initiative. Complexity of on-reserve business development process. Added to the stress of developing a new business is the complexity of on-reserve business development in terms of legalities, mainly due to concerns related to doing business on First Nations lands, as outlined in our reading this week. Why markets fail on First Nations lands. Past practice has not incorporated the interests of Indigenous communities, or considered that there are Indigenous legal precedents beyond the colonial law.